There are people that you interview sometimes in life, and then there are people that you're interviewing sometimes in life, and it really affects you. And tonight, or at least when you hear this interview affected both of us. My name is Colin McGuire. I'm with
Chris Perry.
Yes, on the Could Be Better podcast. I don't know that there's anybody better that you could interview in Frederick as a musician,
or as a person,
And here's the thing. Andrew gives off the vibe, even though it's very real, that he does not hold anything back. He does not lie.
Mm-mm.
He will talk to you. And it's very rare to find people who will talk to you. I say this as somebody who's interviewed a trillion people over my shitty career, but I look at Andrew, and if I could interview 5 people a day, those 5 people would be Andrew. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, Andrew from, as the episode title shows, it's Andrew from Silent Old Mtns, is like, he's one of my favorite people. He's one of my favorite songwriters. I think he's just a Frederick treasure that I wish more people knew about. And a lot of people do know about them, but I feel like there should just be more. But coming away from this interview, it's just like you're grateful to know people like him. And it was just a lot of fun. I mean, we laughed a whole bunch. I cried a bunch. And it was just, I don't know. I hope people are sitting down when they're listening to it, because it is an ups and downs, and it is a feel good interview. But he just talks a lot about his life and the struggles and the successes and things, and it's just really cool to be able to talk to somebody like that is a musician, and they're not just trying to bullshit you to buy their new record. That's not good.
The notion of change is something that I find very hard to deal with, because I don't quite know that people change. I don't believe that people change in my heart. I don't. I think the core of us stays consistent. I think Andrew changed. I think he went through things in his life, and he made decisions in his life to actually be a different person, and he's actually accomplished that. And at the end of it, he has a family. He has a family and a good life right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's being too presumptuous, but it's very, very hard to be somebody different. And it's also very hard to do that in the face of things telling you not to do that. I think he's accomplished that, and he has all my respect in the world for it, because I don't know that necessarily happens a lot in this life. But we sound like we're being too philosophical now.
Yeah, so really philosophical. But a heads up. I hope probably should have said this at the top of the episode. This is the longest podcast we've ever done. Ever. And I'm kind of hoping it doesn't become a habit. But if we get people that are just like Andrew, I will talk until the cows come home.
Talk all night. We will talk all night. And the Could Be Better Studios, located in an undisclosed location
in Frederick, Maryland.
Perhaps.
To give credit where credit is due, and to talk about Frederick, Maryland, you can't really talk about Frederick, Maryland without talking about our podcast sponsor, Old Mother Brewing.
Old Mother Brewing.
So, if you, what do you do on Wednesday nights?
I call Nick.
Well, but after you call Nick, what do you do?
I call Keith.
What do you do after you call Nick and after you call Keith?
I call Nick again.
And then when he declines and puts you to voicemail because he's doing anything, what do you do?
I call Keith and cuss him out.
Okay,
That's what I do.
Okay.
And then I go to Old Mother.
Yeah, and what do you do when you go to Old Mother on Wednesdays?
I go to the bathroom because I really have to pee.
Yeah, and you got to wash your hands because you got to be smart.
That's true.
And then you typically go to the bar and
get a water?
Yeah, definitely. You get a water because you got to hydrate. Hydration is important. But also, it's a Wednesday. So what else do you do on Wednesday at Old Mother except...
You drink beer!
Yeah, and it's double point and discounted growler fill Wednesday. I don't know if you know this, Colin, but members of the Mother Lover free loyalty program receive double points on all of their purchases on Wednesdays and every Wednesday. Have you signed up?
I have.
Yeah, I think...
Under 2 aliases, too.
What's the first one?
Dick Monkey.
And the second one?
Hulk Hogan.
So shout out to Hulk Hogan from Frederick, Maryland, who has double points from Old Mother's double point and discounted growler fill Wednesday. Go check them out at 6th and Market. It's the best. we're going to get into this interview with Andrew, and it's going to be awesome. I am really excited
stick
for.
Around.
Yeah.
Please stick around.
We had a really. It almost was like a funeral entrance, like almost like a little bit of like a.
I know. I'm sorry. That was my fault.
No, it's okay. I mean, I feel like we're a little up now, but does it feel like a fake up, or does it feel like a, I just popped 2 pills and I'm kind of up and down at the same time?
Everything you just said describes my daily routine.
Yeah.
So it doesn't quite matter. I would love to have a food we could talk about. I will say this. With that said, did you ever try the Doritos Buffalo Wild Wings?
I'm going to be letting you down here. I didn't even know there was a Doritos Buffalo Wild Wings thing.
Do you know Doritos, they have the spicy, it's not spicy nachos.
You mean the spicy spicy chili, the sweet chili?
Sweet chili, yes.
The purple bag. Oh, it's the best one. So, and they're vegan.
Buffalo Wild Wings decided to make that, partner with Doritos and make a chicken wing out of it. You did not know about this?
So it's 9:18 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right now. What are the odds that they still have them right now?
No, because they discontinued them like 2 months ago. So let me tell you what they were. They had their spicy chili sauce on it. Then they actually had these crumbs of those Doritos, the spicy chili Doritos that stuck to them because it was a sticky spice.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, they gave you a bag of spicy chili Doritos.
Like a small bag or like the big bag?
Small bag.
But that's crazy. You can't even get those small. Man, I'm upset.
Yeah. No, I tried them. They were good.
Are they better than the Taco Bell wings?
You know what? I would actually put that fight at a toss-up.
Wow.
The Taco Bell wings were very salty, as I said.
Okay. So I feel like this isn't our brand. We do want Taco Bell to sponsor us, shout us out, Arby's. Taco Bell or Arby's. Yeah. But I mean, at a certain point, I am questioning our friendship because the sweet chilies, I
didn't know you were that into that.
Dude, that's my favorite Dorito.
Oh,
shout out to my buddy Keith Higgins. Keith plays in a bunch of bands, Sharptooth, Monolith.
Kelly Clarkson.
Dude, yeah, he's actually the third guitar player in that band. It's amazing. He plays just the root notes,
which is all of the guitar player.
And he told me about those sweet chili ones. He's like, oh, hey, they're also vegan. So I was like, oh, that's really cool. So like, I try to do my part, and like, I'll eat some things that are better for me. But I'm like, well, I guess if Doritos can be better for me, I'll try to do that.
It could be better. They were good. I won't lie. They were good, but they were odd.
Were it does make me feel better that you say it's a toss-up between those and the Taco Bell ones, because I have no desire to do it Taco Bell unless you sponsor us, and then I will say those are the best wings I've ever had.
Maybe we miscalculated. Maybe some of the Taco Bells still have them just because they didn't get rid of them. I don't know.
All right, let's finish up this intro and let's go to Taco Bell.
All right, here's Andrew. All right, we're here with Andrew Bromhal.
Hey.
This is not the first or second, probably not even the third podcast we've done together.
Yeah, I don't know.
We've done a lot of them through the years. It's been so long.
Man. Yeah, because I remember like we talked for like 4 hours at that weird house out in the middle of nowhere.
That was so cool. That was one of the first memories I have of jumping into all that stuff, was going out there to that, which I didn't even realize at the time was the Mountains house, right?
Yeah, well, it was like the Heavy Lights house, and then it became the Mountains house, and then it became the Sea Knuckle house and the Signs Point East house, and then it became no house.
Well, because it burned down.
Yeah. And now it's back, I think. I haven't driven by it, but I'm pretty sure it's back.
I remember when I drove out there, I was convinced you were luring me out to kill me.
But I mean, if you saw the house back then and you saw the guy that occupied the basement of the house, I would believe that too. I believed it when I first drove up to see it.
But you did this beautiful performance. Do you remember that? I think it was a song called Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that day at all?
I remember that. Yeah, I mean, I remember playing it on my classical guitar with a Eat More Kale sticker on it. That's what I was like, I remember that.
It was just the most, sometimes, because I saved all those little podcasts and all those performances, and so that's just my favorite. Like it was so tender, I
don't even like that. Like we played that song prior to us breaking up, here and there, and I don't know if we recorded it, like started to record it, but then yeah, like that didn't come back until into us coming back and playing shows, like, and we're just like, oh, what other, like, hey, we had that song that one time.
Yeah.
But
that was beautiful.
it was kind of a weird, when I think about it, it was weird to play that song.
Well,
because I don't know if it was even in the line to be on that next record that never happened.
Exactly. Yeah. And
So,
that's what, and it didn't wind up on Gary, did it?
Oh, it did.
Oh, it did. Okay.
But it completely, like, yeah, like
it wasn't that structure though. It wasn't that sort of.
It was slightly different. I don't remember how, but I would have to listen to it.
Yeah, I should play you that sometime, because that was such a cool performance.
Yeah.
Silent Old Mountains have been around for ever.
Well,
And,
yeah, it's like if you're not trying to count the like year and a half that we were air quotes like broken up, then we've been together for almost 11 years now, or the band existed for almost 11 years, existed. So
now Joe, of course, guitar player in your band. Joe and I talk about this all the time. We love this quote from Olivia Harrison, which I'm sure somebody has said to you if you haven't watched the George Harrison documentary from years and years ago.
Yeah. I haven't. But.
They asked her, the interviewer asked her, what's the key to staying together this long? And she said, you just don't get divorced.
Yeah.
And that's and do you feel that way with Silent Old Mountains in that?
Yeah. I mean, and I know personally I had a lot of personal things to figure out in that period of time, apart from everyone. And so that's, and I'm much better for it. And I would like to think that everyone else would say the same thing, especially now. Like,
do you think you're a different person?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like completely though? Really?
No, not like completely different, but definitely a little like, I mean, since then I've had other waves of like, oof, that's not great. but it, like kind of had to get it out. Like, oh, I don't know. When I think about that time and leading up to that point of like, all right, if that didn't happen and if we would have kept doing this, I don't like, I don't like the thought of where I would have been if we would have continued on and at that point, and kind of, it sucks because I know I hurt my friends and stepping away or whatever, but it's we're better for it. And I'm better for it. I think everyone else is better for it. So it's kind of
Do you think you as a band have a stronger foundation than you had before? You're walking on more solid ground.
Yeah, like I mean, we are. It's weird to say, but it's fun to like think like, all right, our whole our whole existence is not pinned to this one thing. And at that point in time, all of us were very much like, this is it. This is our one thing. Like, we have to like make this, like, this is our whole identity. And now it's like Tom just got married yesterday. Like, and it's just like, a bunch of us are married. 2 of us have kids, and it's just like all these different things that are just, it's just the fun thing that we do with our friends that brings us enjoyment. And I don't know, it's funny to think about that way. And, the thought of like, all right, well, are we going to make more music ever? Yes, we are. Like, it's like, as we're all like, I think Pat always said, it's like, we don't write music never to like do anything with it. I mean, people do for sure. And I've got a ton of stuff that I will never give to anyone ever, and probably delete it like for myself, and I'll never be able to recreate it either. But it's just kind of like, we're, as friends that are musicians that get together and play, there's gonna be new stuff eventually. Who knows when? But
well, it's like, and people always compare being in a band. It's like being in a marriage.
Oh yeah.
And for people that don't know, Silent Old Mountains is a quadruple. How many?
Seven.
Wow.
If everyone shows up, there's 7.
But everyone's showing up. That's up for debate.
It's I mean, for the right moments, everyone shows up. It's just like
So you had that lull period, and how long have you been together since? I guess the self-improvement time.
Well, it's like 7-Eleven at I almost called it Newspire. That was not it was at 200 East. That was like the reunion show. I think I believe that since that show, and that's like the reunion, and like after that show, we weren't sure if we were going to play other shows, but then we did. And it's like, obviously we're not playing 100 shows a year like we were, but it's like we've consistently gotten together and have played shows and have written new music and stuff like that. I think so. That was 2015. So this is a longer half of the band. Like we've been together longer from 2015 to now than we were from
Before.
2011 to 2013 or whatever. So it was a lot shorter then.
That's awesome. Well, and it's also kind of feels good when you think about it, because then that means that's the good spot has been longer.
Oh, yeah.
Then. So
Yeah.
that's awesome. So, okay. So we are in 2022 now.
Mm-hmm.
Your band marriage has stood the test of time. You guys have put out an amazing record called Gary. What was it like leading up to a pandemic where you guys just released a record? I think it was at the end of last year, or the end of it was end of
2019.
2019.
Yeah, December 2019. And I mean, it's like anyone else who released the record. It's just, you get the release show under your belt, and then you have a couple of other shows. And it was like the release show. Then we played the Music Cafe that they don't exist anymore. They just closed their doors.
No way.
Yeah. But then the Eagles Club, and then we played our last show at Smoketown, and then it was like that was it. Mm-hmm. And like up until that point, we had at least 3 other shows on the books from there, with plans to put more in between or whatever. Sure. And so it's just like Pat and I have talked about it more than I've talked about it with anyone else. It's just like, it sucks. Like, I have thought, I'm like, oh, if we could like just repackage Gary somehow, just release it, it would be the same exact thing. Like, it's like, you might as well. But I don't really, it doesn't bother me. It never really did bother me. It was, it was not as big of a worry. It's just kind of one of those things of, we did this thing, and it kind of like all the pandemic did was have it fall flatter than you'd want it to. Yeah. And that's what we can't do anything about it at this point.
But. Yeah. And so the song that we're going to play is actually, from what I remember, because I think I pay attention to sometimes the things you say at your shows. Yeah. And I think this song is, you wrote it during a pandemic, like during 2020, right?
Yeah. This song was this song. What, like, I think I wrote everything like the week into it, like the first week of like everything being shut down completely. And I wish I came up with a better title than just Lockdown, but it's like at the time, that's what I originally had it part 1, and it was going to be some part 2, but I didn't care about that so much anymore. But I wrote it, I recorded it at home. I sent it, like I recorded it all on my phone, and then like sent it to Colin. And then within hours, he sent me like an organ track or something. It was just like, so like it was just sent back and forth. I think the only joint recording on that song that happened was Sam came to my house and recorded like a glockenspiel part. And other than that, it was all done. Like John did his bass part at his house. Joe recorded 30,000 guitar tracks, I believe here, like probably.
I remember that at the Could Be Better Studios right here.
Yeah,
he did that, and he played a lot of them for me, saying, "Well, do you think I should send Andrew all of these?" And I'm like, "Well,
I kind of wonder like how many more existed, and he capped it at like 9 or 10, and like
no. There were. I am not kidding you. There were dozens. Dozens.
I like and when you hear the song, it's so like to think about it. It's just lap steel and a bunch of like turning knobs on a pedal board. It's so good.
Well, here we go. Here is Lockdown.
It's been a week on lockdown. I can tell you when the trains are to pass on by. Writer's block's got me stuck. These end times got me glad I've got you. I've got you. We've got a secret. The last time we had it, it didn't go as planned. Anxious and cautious, excited and terrified, too many to choose. Too many to choose. You read your story. I play these damn chords over again. If we venture out to the store, keep your hands in your pockets and hurry out soon. Hurry out soon. We catch our monsters, figuratively and physically, we'd say. Rain or yells in our movies, we're to feel everything, including our doom. Including our doom. These moments define us. I'll take them with me like a scar. They say love grows. It's an understatement when I've got you. I've got you.
Man, that song's awesome. We were talking as it was playing, and so there's so many guitar tracks that Joe probably could have sent, but he didn't.
Yeah,
and
I'm
it's,
sure.
it's just kind of special. Okay, so this song is Lockdown. what's next? What's the next thing that you guys are doing? Because we're kind of in this weird state now where Maryland's in a state of emergency. We had to cancel our show at the beginning of January, and not cancel, postpone, because it's going to happen this year, and it's going to be awesome. Yes, let's manifest it now. Yeah. But what's going on now?
I mean, we haven't been in the same room since the Weinberg in October. And you know, I mean, we had a show at the Black Cat that was canceled, or postponed or whatever the headlining act says they're coming back. So who knows? Yeah. And then this one, and, but yeah, it's like all of this stuff will happen eventually. It's just who knows when. So I'm like, I know there've been a couple of other emails, and if Mara from Sky Stage is listening, I will email you back.
Shout out Sky Stage. Shout out Mara, because she is the best.
Yeah, no, she's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
In like, especially in like booking in town.
She's just so easy to work with. Great communicator, and just makes it easy.
Oh yeah, and so like there might be a Sky Stage show sometime closer to summer, but you know, I'm trying to think of. There's nothing really on the books as far as like like leading up to the Weinberg. We were like tossing around like a brand new song about like that. Maybe we like, should we throw this in? And we decided I don't think we had everyone there to practice it like all the way through, so it definitely didn't make it. But you know, like there's new songs. Like I think Joe has always asked me if I just have a secret album, and I mean I have a secret EP. Sure. It's like right now. Like
you heard it here first, folks.
You would be both.
Yeah.
But so does that Weinberg show sit differently with you, knowing that was like the last one that you guys got to play?
Wait, I want to say this too, because this is, I think, because Chris worked that Weinberg show, right?
Mm-hmm. I slaved at that.
Yeah.
But I like I remember this because this was, and the only reason I'm chiming in right now is because it was like a year before that show where the Weinberg contacted me and they said, hey, do you have anybody that you think would fit? And they sent me the band that you played with. And I thought it would be a good fit, and I'm interested in knowing if you thought it was a good fit.
No,
or if you, Chris.
Yeah, I mean those guys, like Pressing Strings was the band that we played with, and they were great.
Their sound was really full.
Yeah, and we have 7 people on stage, and we hope it gets full, and they're like 3 or 4 people on stage, and it's just like, geez, okay. No, they were great, and they were nice guys backstage, and I had a really good time. But yeah, I remember, like, I mean, that show, like, there was a chunk of time where, like, it was like, Colin, you texted me like, hey, the Weinberg might hit you up about this show. Then I got hit up by I got a phone call or email or something about that show. And then I emailed the stuff that I was asked to email back. Yeah. And then I never got a response. And it was like, that was like June. And it was like leading all the way up. Like they hadn't announced the season yet, and I hadn't heard anything from the Weinberg. But I think I sent like a follow-up email and to no response. And then it was like we were getting really. It had to have been like September, and finally I was just like, maybe this isn't happening. Maybe the other band isn't playing, and the show's not happening. And I just called, and John Healy, who I was dealing with, he was like, oh no, your email went to my spam folder. Like, and I was like, I should have just called months ago. Yeah. But it was all still on the books. They announced I think it was like them announcing the season. Like, oh, cool, it's actually happening.
Yeah, no, I caught up with him after the show. It was about a month after the show. We got coffee at Cafe Nola, sat there for a few hours and just talked about a ton of things. But one of the things, of course, was that show. And he said he was really excited and he thought you guys were really good. He kind of thought the attendance, he was hoping for more.
Yeah, I think.
But it was also a weird period, you know?
In every I don't know, in every situation, you're always hoping that there's going to be more, and you're surprised at the same time that many people showed up. So it's like to like think like, oh, like, well, in the only other vision of what the Weinberg looks like when like Lyle Lovett isn't playing is like,
geez, when is Lyle Lovett? Yeah. When Lyle Lovett's playing, I'm gonna call in a few favors to make sure that I can get some all access there. When did that happen?
Well, also funny, like I was standing outside the Met the last time he played, and someone from the Met was at the Weinberg, like, "Hey, do you want to come see Lyle Lovett?" And they just walked me in, and I saw his encore.
Oh my
just
god!
Just standing in the back. It was,
you can't find a bigger fan of Lyle Lovett. Honestly, I'm not kidding.
Cool. Well,
when was this? Must have been years and years.
That was like
years.
Probably. I would
1997.
Yeah. Yeah. I was 9 or something like that. No, I think it had to have been like between 2014 or 15 to 2016, maybe.
Just that
like
period. Yeah.
20 or 20. It's like a big 4-year range.
Sure. I believe you.
Yeah. Well, I was just like, just thinking about like the way that room looks like from like the playlist show that we did.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The funniest part to me was when, like I said, the Weinberg came and they were like, "Hey, we got this band coming in. Who's a good local that you think would fit?" Mm-hmm. And I sent it over, and it like nobody really knew. And I was like, "These guys played the second showcase. Remember when I did that?"
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
A lot of I mean, like a lot of people showed up to that
they
one.
They did.
Yeah, it was like that. And
we had about 300 people that night.
That was like the frame of reference. And I mean, like, it was just like thinking like, oh yeah, like fill up the bottom as much as possible. But it is like, and then when you walk out and you're just like, I can't believe this many people showed up. This is crazy. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it just kind of, I think it was like the day after what I like on Instagram posted the marquee with our name and pressing strings up there, just like, this is cool. And then someone commented and then erased their comment, something like about like, oh well, like something about requiring vaccination or something stupid like that. And I was like, oh man, I hate that he erased it. It would have been the best. Like, it would have been so good. Like, but he erased it.
Well, before we go to our next music break, just talk a little bit, now that you've done it a few times, playing the Weinberg, like that is Frederick's room.
Yeah.
That's the room. If you can get on that stage in Frederick, I would think that's the sort of holy grail if you're a local band. And how was it playing it?
I mean, I this time particularly, it was the thing I remember the most about the first time was not so much hearing my voice at me in a monitor, but more like hearing the echo come back. And that was like pretty surreal. Like, there's no other, like, you're not going to get an echo at Cafe Nola. Like, I mean, cause it's 80 by
it's a little bit, it's a little bigger than this room.
Yeah. But it's like having that experience was like pretty like important at that moment in time. And this time it was just like having all of the people. Jeez, all of having. That's what would happen if I felt. It like having all of the people that we had on stage and it sounding as good in our monitor. Like shout out to the sound guys that night, because
I cannot say this. No, Weinberg has the best crew you could even imagine.
That like I mean, helpful getting gear set up and torn down, and it was, and just the sound check. I think John, I believe, like, I don't know John's last name, but I think he's run sound for us a couple of times in other places, but it's just like he's so patient. It's just like, hey, can you turn a little bit up, whoa, turn a little bit down, turn it. Like, it's just so obnoxious to have that many people asking for different monitor mixes, and he's just like, yeah, sure, no problem. And just having that experience, it's like the best sound you can have on stage in town. And yeah, it's special to go down into the room and see like the names on the green room wall or whatever. And yeah, you're like in, I don't know, it's recording on the same like console that like Star Wars was mixed on or something like that. It's something similar. Like that was a weird example.
No. Shout out to Star Wars fans. And,
Yeah.
Please don't steal the Weinberg's mixer.
Well, I don't think it's that. Actually, I think there's like a mixer in Rockville that like,
oh really?
that like Empire Strikes Back was like, this was mixed on or something like that. I don't know.
That's awesome. So we're going to play another song, not from Silent Old Mtns, but we asked you to pick another song of something that you were into or something that you wanted people to listen to. So tell us about this next track from the Adventuring Party.
So this next song, I'm going to mess up the whole, it's a really long title.
I got it. It's called a Voicemail Left During Shift Break at the Grocery Store, April 9, 2020.
It's like the most, this is the most like poignant, like, song to happen like early pandemic to like think like if you listen to the lyrics, it's just a good song. Like these guys kind of like we connected online via like, you know, they found our music and dug it and promoted us, and then like they put out a record I think this summer and I bought it. I got like the vinyl and a t-shirt. Like you can't get a better, it was like a vinyl, a t-shirt, like a bunch of stickers for like $15. It was something like it was, but it's like it was all recorded in one of the guys' like parents' house. Like it is just cool. Like, and it's a good song of like the lyrics are just it's like, wow, this sucks so much, but then there's like a little bit of hope, and it's just like it's the perfect pandemic song, if I can think of it.
So here's to a little bit of hope and the Adventuring Party.
I was doing fine until they deemed me essential to help these animals and check out with amateur doomsday preparations, breaking into fights in the paper product dial. Don't call it bravery, I just didn't have a choice. Collectors don't care, the world is ending. You can't get blood from a stone, but you can bleed a man dry. $1,200 doesn't go far in New Jersey. Liquor store, I've lost the taste, but think it's still helping. Perpetually Thursday at 11 a.m. Always just not quite the weekend. Did you hear there were dolphins in the Venice Canal? Really see the sunrise over Delhi. I'm beginning to think that the whole human race might be the problem. It was nice to see your face on the screen the other day. I was happy only for a still here. When this quarantine is lifted, it's like light to be close to you again.
That song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good
yeah.
one.
Shout out to the Venturing Party. Where are they from?
They're from New Jersey.
Okay.
And now it really bothers me that I didn't like come prepared with where they're exactly from in New Jersey.
Yeah, what's their favorite colors and where did they? What were they originally called and where was their first show?
It's just like I think like New Jersey just gets the automatic like oh, you're from New Jersey, even though there's like I don't know.
There's so many boroughs that are in
there's
there.
like
There's
so many like people from. Well, I'm from South Jersey. I'm from Newark. That's different. Like,
yeah.
So now I feel bad that I didn't come prepared with that.
Well, hit up Could Be Better Meh Venturing Party, and you can get your gripes in against Andrew.
There we
go. We'll have you.
There we go, man.
So, Colin, you said before we cut that you had a hard-hitting question to talk to Andrew about. You want to drop some fire?
Well, I wanted, and I'm glad you set that up, Chris, because now I'm hoping to actually ignite a conversation between the two of you.
Oh, cool.
I gotta go.
Yeah.
Andrew, you over the last few years, you have really begun to build a life. You have a wife, a beautiful wife, and a beautiful child, and your life is much more differently prioritized than it was before, I would think, at least.
Oh yeah. Oh. Yes.
So, and now for anybody listening, Chris has a beautiful wife and has a beautiful child on the way as well, which may enter this world by the time this podcast comes out. So, so how has it changed you? Because I do believe you talked earlier about how you changed and you wanted to get better at things about yourself. How has this affected your artistic world in that way?
Man, all right. Like artistic, like you can like cut out all these like really long pauses while like,
no,
but
we'll keep them in.
Yeah. No, like she is. I'm gonna cry. I'm totally gonna cry.
Sound like
Yeah. No, my favorite thing right now is that like, so she loves to say no. She's like only 14 months and she says a couple of words like no, that, like very like bossy. But it's like the few things, like there's like a couple of things that she'll nod her head yes for, or like and it's like, hey, do you want to listen to music? And she always shakes her head yes. And it's always like the other day, my mom was with her at our house and we have our record player with vinyl like baby gated away, like so she can't get to it, but she was pointing at it. So then my mom didn't put the record on. My wife came home like right when that was kind of happening, so my wife put a record on, but she just like loves just on the baby gate just staring at the records. And it's just like I can only think like creatively, like when I'm like writing, like when a lot of the things I've been writing lately have been more on the happier side of, because I'm generally happier than some of the like other periods of time where I've been writing songs. And I think that's good. But I'm excited to see her like love for music, like from such an early, like that's why I said Dua Lipa. My top song in 2021 was Levitating. But it wasn't just because I mean, it's a good song and I really like Dua Lipa. She's got a great voice and stuff, but
and that bass riff is
everything about that song is just fun and it's good. But my daughter loves that song, like from the earliest age. Like I think my wife would put it on because my wife liked it, and it was always like, if I can change the diaper faster than the song, then she would always put it on when she'd about to change the diaper. So like from very early on, that's what she hears. So like if she's screaming in the car, we put that song on, she stops. And so that means that if we're like driving for an hour or so, we listen to that song 10 times and it's just kind of like, I mean, I've listened to that song more than I've listened to probably most songs, but it's just kind of like, I know like early, so from such a young age, she already has an enjoyment of music. So I've already bought a guitar saying that it's for her.
Oh.
And like, I wanted it, but it's like a parlor guitar. It's small,
Sure.
so she'll be able to use it. But, I really just wanted, I told Pat I wanted him to give her drum lessons. So, and he refused because he didn't want her to replace it. I'm like, but my goal is just to be Jeff Tweedy and have my kids be the backing band. Like, oh man, like, and now that his other kids playing with him too, like oh man, that's what, like,
Yeah. So do you, I mean, the obvious answer to this is yes, but like, you know, being a father has changed your outlook on writing music because you're at a different place.
Yeah.
But like, do you feel differently with the words that you write because like now you know that like your daughter's going to go back and potentially read them and be like, oh, my dad wrote that?
Like, I haven't really thought about that, but
Sorry.
no, it's, and yeah, I don't know if that would really even change anything.
Sure.
'Cause yeah, I think that's a really interesting thought, but, yeah, I think especially like, I mean, this secret EP that I'm talking about, there's like a couple of songs that are like about her. So, and it's like, and things that I wrote even before she was born, so that like kind of exist. And that, yeah. And I kind of, all right, this is gonna make me cry, but like Lockdown, to go back to that, like that song was like, my wife was early in the pregnancy. We hadn't told anyone at that point in time. Actually, me sending this song to my bandmates was like kind of what outed it to them, because there's like a line, mostly because so like the fall before, like back in October, like we had a miscarriage. And so I told all of my friends that we were having a kid then, and then I had to tell we had to tell all of our friends and family that we told that it wasn't happening then. So then we were much more guarded with that information this time around. And so there's this line, like, we have a secret. Last time we had it didn't go as planned, and then it kind of goes into this like anxiety or whatever of the times and of that whole thing. But it's just like thinking about her, like hearing that, just kind of like what was that about? Like what, like, and like to have that conversation. But yeah, I mean, I'm like, I guess I'm looking forward to those kind of conversations.
No, man,
but
yeah, thanks for talking about that.
Yeah, I mean,
I kind of feel like it's one of those. I mean, the older that you get, and the more your circle either grows, or the more you kind of like deeper connect with friends, you find out like that's not an uncommon thing.
No, and having it happen, like, just opened both of our worlds. Like, of like how common, even within our families.
Sure.
And it, like, stuff I never knew. And it's like, it's wild and it's sad, but you know, having that joint, it's not the same experience for everyone, but having that, like, something. So.
And getting to share that experience with others is important too, because doing it in isolation could be a total game changer and world ender for a lot of people. That's what
sucked about like, is just, you know, like, not sharing that information, like something that you're excited, but also like you're guarded a little bit, but then also dealing with a pandemic where you can't go and like, you can't see your family, or you can't, so it I don't know, it's just kind of been a weird leading up to her being born, but now it's just like, she's the funniest person I know, and I like.
So there is this sort of, I don't know if I can call it a misconception. We can all have our opinions on that, but a lot of people would like to think you can't necessarily reach deep into yourself unless if you're sad or you feel very strong negative emotions and all of that. With this now, it like everything you've said, it sounds like, you know, you've weathered a lot. You've come out on the other side of it. Now you're like a good dude. Like, you're like a normal person, which I strive to be every day, and I will never be.
Yeah, same here. Like,
but when you like, have you found another sort of level of your songwriting or your artistic ability or whatever you want to say, however you want to frame it, in this sense where it's not like, well, I don't have to be sad to be super creative.
Yeah.
I don't have to. Have you gotten there?
no, I haven't. But I think I'm trying to think, like, have either of you heard Howdy's new record?
No.
It's called, like, so this is their 4th record maybe, but most of the records are really like down tempo, like slow, sad songs, and then like the title track off this new record is like, oh man, it's so happy. Like, it's just, and I know that the 2 guys in the band have talked about it, where it's like, yeah, we're like in a different place. So like they still have a couple of sad songs here, but it's like, it's all peppered amongst like more like expressing the joy that they're experiencing. And I think that's where I'm like, all right, like I need to find a way to like express a joy that I'm feeling, which I think is way more difficult in my experience than like, oh, this terrible thing happened, I know exactly what I need to say. Like,
yeah.
And so it's just kind of a, I don't know. It's more of like a challenge, like a songwriting challenge, I guess. I don't know.
Well, I think it's marketable and popular to make things happy, and it feels artificial.
Yeah.
And I think when people are being sad, that's at least for my world of things, it feels like that's something that people talk about a lot more, but it's not as like, I mean, really up until pop punk. Now it's like, oh, sad songs is being marketed, but like, you know, but being happy and joyful, it's been awesome having you on this. Like,
yeah, man.
You're genuinely like one of my favorite people to be on this thing. Just to listen to as a songwriter, to talk to you as a friend. Like, it's been cool, and I haven't known you nearly as long as Colin, but it's been like it's been just like one of the cooler friendships that I've had in a long time. So I appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me. It's I don't know. Like, it's always, it's weird to like, you know, like to think like, oh, we would have this conversation if we were just sitting at a bar or whatever.
Yeah.
And just
which
like
we have.
Yeah. And just to have the recording, it's like now other people can choose to listen to this or not.
Hear how boring we really are. Like, oh, that's what they're talking about at the bar.
Like, I don't want to go hang out with them.
Yeah. So, now if you see us talking, you don't have to come up to us because you can listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
So we're going to play one more song. I believe it is from our really good friend, Derek Salazar. Oh, yeah.
Let me at least chime in for a second here. Derek, this is Derek's band, and
he's the drummer in the band.
And well, he's the drummer in the band, but I would like, not that I don't even think Derek would ever listen to this silly podcast, but Derek Salazar did the first 2 Double Motorcycle records, which for anybody listening who doesn't know, the guitar player in your band, Joe, that's his band.
Yeah.
And I happen to play drums / do other things.
Drums and antics.
Yeah, I do drums and antics. Drums and Antics, that's the name of my biography, by the way. So
pay him 10%.
Yeah. All right.
But I will say though, this band, I wanted, that's why I had to chime in here, because this band is great.
Oh yeah.
I just fucking love this band. I really do. Derek is a great musical mind. I really believe that. Andrew, if you want to talk a little more about the song and the band, like, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and to echo what you just said about Derek, like I've known Derek for a very long time, and I love Derek very much. And
that's really what it comes down to, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I can just attest to the crazy schedule that Double Motorcycle would always want to do. Is like, hey, we want to do a whole record. We got 2 days. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, all right,
sure.
Like, I'm in. And you were a part of that.
That second one, man.
One, man. You played bass. Not a lot of people know this, but Andrew was the bass player on that whole second record.
Because that came out in 2019, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I think it did. It
was in January. I know that.
Beginning of January 19, I think.
Yeah, because so when I always forget it, but I was like, man, I was on 3 records that came out in 2019. So I had bass on your guys' record, bass on Middle Kid's record, and then
That's the last thing I was going to ask you about. Do you still work with Zach at all?
I mean, he and I got coffee a couple, I don't know. It was, I had to go, it was around my birthday because I had to renew my license. And we went to Gravel and Grind, and that was my first time seeing him.
Is he
since
done?
the pandemic.
Is he done with music?
I don't think he's done. He's still got all the cool stuff. So it's just like you gotta like, yeah. And we've talked about like one day some weird Middle Kid show will happen where we wouldn't have practiced and we'll like just play this dumb show and it'll be great.
So.
Like it'll be awesome.
Chris hopes so.
Yeah.
I desperately hope so. Zach Willis, let's freaking do it.
Yeah. No, it would be I miss Zach and I miss Austin and I miss playing music. I miss playing bass, like, and actually I like recorded bass in my basement for like the first time in a long time. I was like, oh wow, this is like all this stuff still works. It's like
one of my favorite one takes. What was the song on?
Competitive.
Competitive.
Yeah.
Competitive. Yeah. I just love that song. So
Yeah,
much.
that was.
You look so comfortable playing bass too, just sitting back there like. Ooh.
I can't remember if I had to have. I can't have used my like dumb Squire P bass there. I feel like Kenny wouldn't have let me.
Nah,
use
that. I don't remember.
It's just like I'm trying to remember. Like, did I use one of his like good basses? But I like maybe not. I don't know. But yeah.
Either way, set up this song from Derek Salazar, who we love and adore.
This is Derek plays bass. He plays bass in this band. No, Derek plays drums. This band Zinski. This was a thing they all recorded at their houses during the pandemic. I think all these songs are on their first EP, but I particularly like this live from home thing. So this song is just cool. I wish I could sing as low as this guy sings, like. And you like hear me talk, you think I could sing low, but it's hard. It doesn't sound good. And so I wish I like just shoegazy, like brilliance. That's what this song is. And I can't believe I just said that. It was like the most like pretentious
so
thing ever.
That's why we love you, Andrew. Thank you so much for coming on, Andrew.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Could Be Better podcast is produced by Chris Perry and Colin McGuire from the Could Be Better Studios in Frederick, Maryland.
Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at couldbebettermeh.
You could also email us at couldbebettermeh@gmail.com. And don't be afraid to reach out if you're an artist, a band, anybody looking for a show. We'd love to book you. Also, if you'd happen to want to be a sponsor, we'd like to hear from you too.
Subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts or follow us on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review if you like what you hear and want to hear more. And also give us a 5-star review if you don't like what you hear and definitely don't want to hear more.
His name is Chris Perry.
His is Colin McGuire.
And we are out of time. For now, this could be better.